Here we're looking at some full-scale snaps, both in real time and then in slow motion.
Hi, my name is Manrico. I am an IMAC pilot and a judge. We're here today to analyze the snap using some video technology. We have created a collection of snaps taken from several videos that we made or that are floating around the internet, taking the snap pieces to be analyzed. I would like to thank all the pilots that performed all those snaps, because they're actually helping us in the attempt of understanding how to best execute this complex maneuver. This is a maneuver that is composed by three fundamental phases. The first one is called departure, is when you pitch and then with the rudder you initialize the rotation, rudder and ailerons, depends, and then the actual snap that you control introducing a certain amount of ailerons, and then the closing where you stop the wings at the right plane level where they need to be, and you fix the exit so that in case you're displaced you make sure you land on a flight path parallel to the one you departed from.
Now we continue to analyze full-scale snaps performed on horizontal lines and then 45 degrees line and then vertical lines. Now look at this opposite rudder fix, very interesting on this exit after significant displacement. Now we get into 45 degrees snaps. Look at this pilot who performs snaps in a way that is very close to our semi-scale airplanes. Pitch, outer rotation, and closing. Here we see a displacement that is actually not penalized because the pilot fixes the exit, returning on a parallel flight path. Here look at the down nose fix again.
Displacement is something natural that happens when the airplane truly performs the outer rotation, and so is naturally moved out of its original flight path. It's an offset of flight path. For this reason, the displacement is not penalized. However, the airplane may not land on a parallel flight path. The exit might be on a different angle. In this case, the pilot needs to fix the exit at the very end of its snap, so that the airplane returns on a flight path that is parallel to the original one. Both the displacement and the fixing are not penalized.
Here you see a significant displacement, and after fixing, the airplane continues on its new flight path. Instead, here the fixing doesn't happen. The airplane does not return on a vertical line, and so originates a penalization of 3 points.
As we have seen, the snap is a complex maneuver that needs to be flown through its three fundamental phases. The first one, the departure, is made by pitching with elevator and then immediately injecting rudder to initialize outer rotation, and then support the airplane through the snap with ailerons, and then make sure you stop the airplane by releasing the controls, or in some cases provide opposite ailerons, or even better, opposite rudder, and then fix the exit on the right flight path using, in most cases, it's the rudder or, if needed, the elevator. So, as you can see, the snap must be flown through.
Now we move to semi-scale snaps, starting from horizontal line. As you can see, they can be very similar in their pitch and auto rotation to the performance of the full-scale aircrafts. Look at this beautiful snap that could be easily taken for a full scale. Here, pitch and auto rotation happen at the same time, and this is perfectly fine. Here you find three of what we called blip snaps. These are snaps conducted at phenomenal speed, almost invisible, that have a very limited pitch and auto rotation. In case the pitch and the auto rotation will not be visible, the blip should be zeroed. Instead, here you find a series of the so-called barrel snaps that, as will be better explained later, have to be zeroed. And by the way, this is my yak barreling all over the place. Clearly I have some margins for improvement.
The snap is a very quick maneuver, and this is why judges need to have very clearly in mind what they're looking for. In order to do this, we suggest to have two fundamental questions in mind. One is whether you saw a snap or not, and what kind of snap was it. And two, whether the exit was done properly or not. To answer the first question, it's useful to realize that you will probably see only 5 kinds of different snaps up there. The first one is the right snap, where you see the pitch and the auto rotation and the exit. And this, of course, has no downgrade. The second one, that is called, we called it the line swing, is when the pilot pitches but then hesitates and then auto rotates. So you actually see a line between the first pitch and the auto rotation. This line swing snap has to be zeroed. Another kind of snap is called the barrel snap, and it's when there is not enough pitch, a significant amount of rudder, not so much ailerons, and so the airplane barrels around like this. This snap also needs to be zeroed. And then you have the roll snap, that is basically a roll. So not enough or visible auto rotation is injected, and so what you see is basically a roll. In this case, you should zero the maneuver. The last one is a new animal that is coming from the F3A world that we call the blip snap. The blip is a snap that is done at an extremely fast rate that you can barely see. This creates often doubts in the minds of the judges because they see this very abrupt snapping. They see some auto rotation, but it's very difficult to tell whether this was a quick roll or a real snap. In the first edition of this video, I suggested to downgrade the blip snap with a -4. This suggestion is wrong and is not consistent with our rules, as the snap is a maneuver that either passes, is considered a snap, or is not considered a snap. Another danger we don't want to fall into is to somehow penalize the snap because of its speed. Judges will never be able to assess different kinds of speed. So the speed is not the issue. The issue with the blip snap is that you may not see enough pitch and auto rotation, or you may see something that is extremely close to an high speed roll. In these two cases, which I personally recognize most of the time, you should zero the blip snap.
Here we have written up the checklist that the judge should keep in mind when assessing a snap. First question, was it a snap? And we cover its content with the 5 possible snaps that you can see up in the air. And then how was the exit? First of all, if after displacement the fix was done properly, and so the airplane exits on a parallel flight path, parallel to the one that departed from, then there is no downgrade. If not, you may notice a direction misalignment that can happen both on the rudder plane or the elevator plane. In this case, you need to deduct half a point for each 5 degrees of misalignment, as usual. Then you have to also look at the wing plane potential misalignment versus the plane where the wings should land according to the Aresti figure. And again, apply the same rule to assess a downgrade. Then you may also notice the fact that the pilot stops the auto rotation, or the auto rotation ends before the wings reach the right plane. Therefore, the pilot follows through with ailerons in order to finish the maneuver. In this case, for this proportion of roll that is induced with the ailerons, you need to apply the normal rule of 5 degrees times half a point to assess a penalty. And now we move into another series of semi-scale snaps, now on 45 degrees line and then on vertical lines. And now look at this series of beautiful half snaps. This is a very difficult maneuver because you need to go through the whole initialization phase, creating inertia with the departure. But then you need to be able to stop the maneuver only halfway. Instead, here you see a very good half snap on the first auto rotation and a very limited pitch on the second one. This maneuver should probably be zeroed. Here you see 2 half snaps with very limited pitch and auto rotation. They really look like rolls. In this video, we did not place any attention to the penalties that should be given regarding the quality of the exit. So all the downgrades that you have seen on these snaps that we have shown are related only to the answer to the first question of whether you saw a snap or not. Look at the following 2 beautiful auto rotations. And here we go again through some more barrel rolls, but on a 45 degrees line. these barrels definitely need to be zeroed. We end the series of the 40 degrees line snaps with some roll snaps that need to be zero. And then an interesting snap that leaves you with a doubt of whether it is a roll snap or a blip snap. We close our snaps collection performed by semi-scale airplanes with vertical line snaps. This snap is particularly difficult because in many cases you may run out of power, and so the auto rotation could lead to a very significant displacement that needs to be fixed. As you can see here, especially going up the line, our airplanes tend to be more hanging on the prop rather than what we saw with the full-scale airplanes. Performing a good down-the-line snap on a vertical line with our airplanes is pretty difficult because normally they go too fast. But these pilots seem to do a good job. On all the good snaps that we saw so far, I think we should really appreciate the amount of elevator and rudder that has been injected to perform a very good auto rotation. We have to learn how to throw in a very significant amount of elevator and rudder in order to perform a good auto rotation. And then to reduce control throw during the snap in order to close it in an appropriate way. Instead, we see here how not enough pitch and not enough rudder combined with too much rotational speed generate a blip snap. Instead, we have here some more good ones to really be appreciated. Look at how this pilot properly fixes the closing of his snap to regain proper alignment. And to finish our selection, we now have a roll snap that should be zeroed and the last barrel roll that also should be zeroed.
We are at the end of our snaps collection. I hope you enjoyed it. This video can be used as it is, or it can be dismantled if you like to best support your training activities. So goodbye for now, and I hope to see you at the Worlds.